Swamiji. Good morning, everyone. This morning I'll be reading a brief compilation of writings from Sri Aurobindo's work called The Basic Elements of Sadhana. I came across this little book about 10 years ago. I was taking a trip to a rural part of upstate New York on my way to a Hatha yoga retreat. And at that time in my life, the only practice that I knew of yoga was the postures. And I've been practicing for quite some time, and it was awakening this yearning in my heart for a spiritual and foundational understanding of the yoga, where it came from. But I really didn't know where to turn. I didn't know that a place like the Vedanta Center existed. So all I had were the books. So I was on the way to this retreat, and we stopped in this little podunk town called Woodstock, New York. And randomly, I ended up in a bookstore with a vast collection of yoga books. And I made this choice, this little book, and the lady at the cash register, she smiled at me and she said, "Oh dear, you just chose yourself a treasure." And she was right, because for the next 2 years, I carried this book everywhere with me. And I would hang on every word. I would just read it over and over again. And it just awoke something in my heart and really began a whole new phase of my spiritual life. And so I would like to share a few of the reflections with you today. In his reflections here, he espouses the basic elements, the requirements for sadhana, and the very first one is aspiration for the divine. And I'd like to share them because these reflections really align with my own lived experience that once we have the seed of desire, the divine supports us and carries us forward in spiritual life. The personal effort required for sadhana is aspiration. An aspiration vigilant, constant, unceasing. Aspiration is the call of the being for higher things, for the divine, for all that belongs to the higher or divine consciousness. Spiritual aspiration is innate in man, for he is, unlike the animal, aware of imperfection and limitation, and feels that there is something to be attained beyond what he is now. Aspiration should not be a form of desire, but the feeling of an inner soul's need and a quiet, settled will to turn toward the divine and seek the divine. While pulling usually comes from a desire to get things for oneself, in aspiration, there is a self-giving for the higher consciousness to descend and to take possession. The more intense the call, the greater the self-giving. Demand or desire comes from the mind or body, but a spiritual need is a different thing. The soul does not demand or desire, it aspires. It does not make conditions for its surrender or withdraw if its aspiration is not immediately satisfied. For the soul has complete trust in the divine or in the guru and can wait for the right time or the right hour of divine grace. The soul has an insistence of its own and puts the pressure not on the divine, but on the nature, placing a finger of light on all its defects, all that stand in the way of realization. It sifts out all that is mixed, ignorant, or imperfect. It is never satisfied with itself or with the nature until it has become perfectly open to the divine, free from all forms of ego, surrendered, simple, and right in attitude. The process of yoga is a turning of the human soul from the egoistic state of consciousness, absorbed in its outward appearances and attraction of things, toward a higher state in which the transcendent and universal can pour itself into the individual mold and transform it. The first determining element of this siddhi is therefore the intensity of the turning, the force which directs the soul inward. The power of aspiration of the heart, the force of the will, and the concentration of the mind, the perseverance and determined of this applied energy are the measures of that intensity. The ideal sadhaka should be able to say, as in the biblical phrase, "My zeal for the Lord has eaten me up." It is this zeal for the Lord that devours the ego. It breaks up the limitations of the petty, narrow mold and makes space for that full and wide reception of that which it seeks, that which, being universal and transcendent, surpasses the individual self and nature. If you are in a state of conscious aspiration, and very sincere, well, everything around you will be arranged just in order to help you in your aspiration. Whether directly or indirectly, that is, you will make progress, you will be put in touch with something new, or something will be eliminated from your nature, something that has to disappear. This is something quite remarkable. If you are truly in a state of intensity of aspiration, there is not a circumstance which does not come to help you realize your aspiration. Everything comes, everything, as though there were a perfect and absolute consciousness organizing all the things around you. When you come to the yoga, you must be ready to have all your mental buildings and all your vital scaffoldings shattered to pieces. You must be prepared to be suspended in the air with nothing to support you but your faith. You will have to forget your past self and its clingings altogether, to pluck it out of your consciousness and be born anew, free from every kind of bondage. Think not of what you were, but of what you aspire to be. Be all together in what you want to realize. Turn from your dead past and look straight to the future. Your religion, country, family lie there. It is the divine. Thank you.
Morning, Swamiji. Good morning, everybody. Hello. I'm going to read from the Dhammapada. The version I have is edited and translated by Anne Bancroft. There are 6 sections that I'm going to focus on, starting with the world, the mind, self, happiness, the seeker, and the path. The world. Do not live thoughtlessly, in distraction and with deluded aims, outside the universal law. Rouse yourself and follow the enlightened way through the world with energy and joy. Follow the path of enlightenment with happiness through this world and beyond. See the world as a bubble, a mirage. Be non-attached and death cannot touch you. Look at this glittering world. It is like a royal carriage. The foolish are taken up by it, but the wise do not cling to it. The moon comes out from behind the clouds and brightens up the world. So too the man who overcomes his ignorance shines forth. Like the moon coming out from behind the clouds, the man who sees his past mistakes and turns to good deeds shines forth. The world is dark and only a few can see. Only a few soar upwards like the birds escaping from the fowler's net. Swans rise and fly through the air. How magical are they? So do the resolute conquer the armies of delusion and rise above the world. If you scorn the universal law and scoff at the life to come, there is no end to your foolish mischief. The miser can never enter heaven, and the fool scorns generosity. But the wise man finds joy in giving and enters heaven in this world. But better than all the happiness on earth or in heaven, greater than dominion over all the worlds, is the joy and first step on the noble path. The second section is the mind. As the bowman makes straight his arrows, so the wise man straightens his unsteady mind. This mind is like a fish out of water which thrashes and throws itself about when thoughts try to shake off their cravings. Such a wandering mind is a weak and unsteady, attracted here, there, and everywhere. How good it is to control it and know the happiness of freedom. And yet how unruly still, how subtle the delusions of thought. To quieten them and master them is the true way to happiness. Putting a bridle on the wandering mind, single-mindedly the seeker halts his thoughts. He ends the darting waywardness and finds peace. A troubled mind, however, does not see the way. If a man is ignorant and filled with doubt, he can never find the truth or the true path. But a concentrated mind, untroubled and calm, no longer struggling to judge between right and wrong, but beyond judgments, has no fear, for it understands. He knows that the body is as fragile as a jar. By making the mind as firm as a fortress, wisdom and understanding will fight for him in every trial, guarding all that has been won. For soon the body will be cast aside, and what will be its consciousness then? It will lie on the ground like a useless log of wood, without knowledge or feelings. Whatever an enemy may do, he cannot harm you as much your own wrongly directed thoughts. But once you understand, no one, neither your father nor your mother, can do as much as good to you as your own well-directed thoughts. Self. If a man is dear to himself, he will guard himself carefully. For at least a part of the night he will keep watch. Let a wise man first go to the right way himself, then teach others, so he will have no cause to grieve. If a man is himself controlled, he will be able to control others. When he comes to know himself, he will be able to teach others. Who else but the self can be master of the self? With self well controlled, there is no other master. The harm he does crushes the fool, even as a diamond crushes a precious stone. Just as a creeper chokes a tree, so a man's harmful deeds will bring him as low as his enemy would wish him to be. It is easy to lose yourself in mischief. What is helpful and good is often hard to do. Like the fruit of the bamboo tree, which in its destruction, the senseless man may scorn the teaching of the awakened and follow false advice, bear the fruit of his own destruction. But by oneself evil is done, by oneself one suffers. By oneself good is done, by oneself one is purified. Purity and impurity belong to no one. No one can purify other. Your work is to find out what your work should be and not to neglect it for others. Clearly discover your work and attend to it with all your heart. Happiness. Live happily without hating, even those who hate you. Be free from hatred among those who hate. Live happily in health, even among those who are sick. Live happily, free from greed among the greedy. Live happily, though you have no position. Be like the gods, feeding on love. Victory for one sows the seeds of hatred in another. For the loser is unhappy. Be calm and give up both victory and defeat. There is no fire like greed and no crime like hatred. There is no sorrow like being bound to this world. There is no happiness like freedom. Hunger is the greatest ill, and this body of the greatest source of sorrow. When one knows this, nirvana becomes the highest happiness. Health is the greatest of blessings, contentment the best riches, trust is the best of relationships, nirvana is the highest happiness. Having tasted the sweetness of inner solitude and calmness, he who lives by the law is free from fear and suffering. It is joy to see the awakened ones and to live with them in happiness. To travel with fools makes the journey long and hard, and it is painful as traveling with an enemy. But the company of the wise is as pleasant as meeting with friends. Follow the wise, the intelligent, and the awakened. Follow them as the moon follows the path of the stars. The seeker. Learn mastery over your senses. Learn to control your eye and control your ear. In what you smell and taste, become the master. It is too good to master your movements, to control your words and thoughts. The seeker who is in control in every way is joyful in freedom. When you are master of your limbs and of your concentration, you will delight in meditation and in solitude. It is good to listen to the seeker who guards his tongue and speaks wisely. Such a one is humble and does not exalt himself. He follows the universal law in his daily life. The seeker who loves the truth and always reflects upon it will always be sustained by it. Never allow yourself to envy others, for you will lose sight of the truth that way. Even though you have very little in the world, if you use it wisely and live your life with purpose, people will praise you. The seeker is no longer dependent on name and form. That makes him indeed a seeker. The seeker who meditates on love and who follows the way of the Buddha with joy will reach nirvana. Empty your boat, seeker, and you will travel more swiftly. Lighten the load of craving and hatred, and you will reach nirvana. There are 5 bonds which the seeker must loosen. These 5 are selfishness, doubt, false values, craving, and hatred. Turn these 5 away, and in their place will come 5 more. Longing for this world of form and longing for the formless world. Self-centeredness, mental purposelessness, and ignorance. Transcend these 5 too, and then will come another 5 to stay with you. Confidence, energy, awareness, concentration, and insight. Make your mind steady and strong. Meditate deeply, or you may swallow the red-hot iron of suffering. If you do not meditate, how will you gain insight? And if you have no insight, how will you concentrate? But if you concentrate with insight, you will come near nirvana. The seeker is happy who has a quiet mind and who follows the way. To reflect on the beginning and ending of things fills the seeker with happiness as he sees the boundless joy of worlds beyond worlds. First of all, the seeker must guard his senses, be calm, and follow the right instructions. The seeker should try to find good friends along the path and learn to put an end to sorrows. Even as faded leaves drop from the tree, so must craving and hatred fall away from the seeker. A seeker who is calm in body, calm in speech, calm in mind, and has turned away from the worldly is seen to be a source of peace. Look to your own nature, which is intrinsically pure, and rouse yourself. Look to the purity on which the world is founded and correct yourself. Look within and find happiness. You are the master and you are the way. Where else can you look? As a merchant breaks in a noble horse, you should master yourself. The seeker who has confidence in the way will go beyond the way and find the end of suffering. The seeker who goes beyond the way and lightens the world, just as the moon shines as it passes from behind the clouds. And finally, therefore, the path. The enlightened path is the best of all paths. The 4 truths, the best of all truths. Freedom from craving is the best state, and the one who has eyes to see is the best person. This is the noble path, the way that leads to freedom from delusion, that leads to clarity. The one who sees this path and follows it comes to the end of sorrow. You yourself must make the effort. The awakened only points the way. Those who have entered the path and who meditate free themselves from the bonds of illusion. Everything is changing. It arises and passes away. The one who realizes this is freed from sorrow. This is the shining path. To exist is to know suffering. Realize this and be free from suffering. This is the radiant path. There is no separate self to suffer. The one who understands this is free. This is the path of clarity. But if you are lazy and irresolute, idle when you should be energetic, such as you will never find the path. Master your speech and train your thoughts. Never allow your body to act harmfully. Then you will enter the path. From meditation comes wisdom, and from lack of it, wisdom decays. These are the two roads. Choose your one and let wisdom increase. Cut down the forest of craving, and not just one tree only, since from the forest comes danger. Cut down all the trees and clear the underground and be free. While a man lusts after a woman, his mind is bound as closely as a calf to its mother. Pluck out your love of yourself as the autumn flower is plucked, and enter the path of peace taught by the awakened. Here I will spend the winter and summer, so the fool makes plans, not even thinking of his death. But death will overtake him. Absorbed in his daily concerns, caring only for his children and his cattle, he will be carried off by death, even as flood sweeps away a sleeping village. Neither relatives nor one's own friends and family can give refuge when one is faced with death. Seeing that no one can help when one is overtaken by death, the wise will find the path that goes beyond death. Thank you.
Om Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Aviravirmayedhi Rudrayatte Dakshinam Mukham Te Namam Pahi Nityam. May the Divine lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the Divine Consciousness fill our hearts and protect us. Thank you for the two readings and the music that we had. One of the reasons we have these gaps between every reading and every song that we have is that there are so many uplifting ideas that come up in the readings, in the songs that we have. And we need time to kind of soak into it and reflect into it. Now, I know 2 minutes is not a whole lot of time, but that pause gives us an opportunity to reflect a little bit. As I'm getting older, I'm appreciating these pauses more than the sound. And the reason, one of the things that many of us would have noticed is that things that happen in our lives, and things are always happening, but some of the things may be a little disruptive if it's an illness or something like that, or it could be some good news that we have had. So there are these wonderful, pleasant experiences we have in life, and sometimes we have some painful experiences in life. Every experience teaches us something, is meant to teach us something. Now, sometimes we just experience things, whether it's joy or sorrow, pain or whatever we experience, and the lesson comes and sometimes we just don't get it or we just don't catch it. It just kind of passes by. The reason I'm stressing the importance of lessons we learned in life so much is that if we look back at our lives, the many things that have happened in our lives, both in our personal life, in our family life, in our social life, things are always happening. What remains finally If we look back at our life, many of the things that have happened in our life, we've just forgotten about it. Maybe if you just look up an old album or some of your social network postings, some old memories might come. Other than that, many of the things have just been wiped off from a memory because probably they were not significant enough. But there are also a few things which we may remember from our past, and they may have some things, oh yeah, that happened the other day, and this and so on. But other than that, other than these faint memories that have happened, what has remained? And if we find that beyond these memories of things that have happened in our life, if nothing much has kind of remained, then that's kind of sad. Because every life is precious, time is precious, every moment is precious. And think about the years passed in our own life. It was a precious time, and whatever it is that we learned, how much of that has been retained. So sometimes it's helpful, I am finding, to just pause, find some quiet moment, and ask ourselves, what has life taught me so far? Yes, there'll be more lessons to learn as we go forward. But at whatever stage of life we are in at present, it's helpful to pause and say, what have I learned? Beyond the memories, what has remained with me? And that's the kind of question many of us probably don't ask ourselves. I may have mentioned this before. Years ago, when I was visiting India, and I was meeting my high school friends after a long time. Some of them I was meeting them after 30 or 40, 50 years. And it was wonderful to kind of get together. And of course, among my whole high school class, I'm the only one who has become a monk. So my life has taken a somewhat very different direction from the lives of my childhood friends. And so we are all sitting in a group and everyone is talking and discussing everything under the sun, politics and this and that. And I'm just sitting there and I want to participate, but a lot of the things really was so out of my present interest and knowledge that I couldn't do it. And I thought, it just looks bad that everyone is speaking and sharing and asking and talking, and I'm just sitting there. So I thought, let me make some contribution. And I made a fatal mistake of just saying what I just said to you just now. I was like, we have known each other since the time we were teenagers. That's what I told them. And now some 30, 40 years have passed. There's so many things have happened in our life. Now, can we just go around in a circle and just say, just a couple of sentences, like, what most important lesson I have learned in life? There's a silence. Now, it's not as if they were, they are wonderful people and they're very thoughtful. I have great respect for all of my friends. But no one had consciously thought about this. And this is something we can ask our own selves. It's helpful to sometimes just pause and say, and it doesn't have to be some profound philosophical lesson. It could be something very simple. But that's what Swami Vivekananda used to say, learning is religion. And so it's helpful. I should also mention, of course, before I end, that I'm very grateful on the patience of all of you. We are resuming the programs after the break, after almost 3 weeks behind schedule. I had a good India trip in January, but my return flight wasn't all that much pleasant, as pleasant as the trip was. And so I was ill for some time. And I'm very grateful for your prayers and good wishes that all of you sent me in various ways. And that has been very helpful. So I've fully recovered now. I just need some little bit more time to kind of get back my energy levels. So maybe after a couple of weeks you'll hear me even in a much more robust, loud voice. But one incident that has been in my mind recently is this. There was this one devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. He was very devoted, he was a wonderful person. And then once he had this kind of a great experience, he began hearing the sound of Om, that sacred sound of Om, all the time. And that was wonderful. I mean, many of us would rejoice at that kind of experience like that. But of course, he also fell ill alongside that. But he was also hearing that sound along with it. And the family was worried. They kind of got an Vaidya, an Ayurveda, they got an Ayurveda Vaidya Raj for that person to fix the problem. So whatever illness was there. As soon as that doctor came, this devotee who was hearing this wonderful sound of Om, he told that doctor, whatever illness is there, please fix it well, but don't fix my Om. And that's been a little bit on my mind, because sometimes now I'm getting a lot of these messages and everyone inquiring, how are you? Are you all right? Are you completely recovered? And I said, yes, I have recovered, but I'm concerned that some of the things I had learned during my present time away and kind of a quiet and solitude I had as I was recovering, that I don't want to lose those lessons. I don't want to recover from those lessons. And that's what I was referring to before, that yes, things will happen, things will go. They will pass into memory. But the lesson that comes should remain with us. And if we hold on to that lesson, that's how we will begin to see a change in our life, a change for the better. If I look back at my life 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and then I look back and now say, am I today a better person than what I was 5 years ago? Or I'm just the same old person. That is a better measure of our spiritual progress. It's not about comparing ourselves with other people. It's not about how long we meditate or how many books we have read. That's all that is fine. But all of those things, whatever have I learned, and has that learning made me a better human being? And if we have a religious leaning, then a devotee might say, whatever experiences I had, whatever I have learned, has it taken me closer to my ideal? Has it taken me closer to God? Do I feel that I'm nearing, that my life is becoming more meaningful? And that's what I see as the purpose of the programs we have at the Vedanta Center. It's wonderful to get together every Sunday, and then on Wednesday we study scriptures, on Saturday evenings we have meditation. Now, the purpose of all of this is not just simple. I mean, the most superficial benefit is we feel, oh, I'm doing something religious. I'm doing something good. And that feeling is nice. But we have to go beyond simply that feeling, something that I should feel deep inside. And it's very tangible. It's not some kind of a hazy, just so superficial idea. If we improve, there's a real transformation of consciousness in the heart. We can feel it tangibly. It's like you go to a gym and then you work out for some time and you actually feel that vigor, your biceps and your muscles. You can feel it. It's very real. Exactly in the same way, if we are making a spiritual progress, it can be felt very tangibly. We don't have to ask anybody. It's not about what other people think about us. It's about what I think about myself. That is more important. Sometimes we want to appear at our best to other people, and which is good, which is what people do in social life. But deep down, we all know who we are, what our weaknesses are, what our strengths are. And that is good to be aware of that. Because a very realistic idea about where we stand in life gives us an opportunity, because then going forward, taking decisions, making choices becomes easier. Once I know what my strengths are, I should choose to do only things which will preserve my strength. If I know what my weaknesses are, I should choose to do things which will eliminate my weaknesses. So this kind of a self-knowledge, I'm not talking about this great high self-realization and atma-jnana. That's too high. I'm just speaking of just ordinary knowledge that we need as normal, sane human beings. That these are the strengths, these are the weaknesses, these are the things I need to work on in my life. Now, all of these insights to do that will come through the books that we read, through the discussions that we have here, through the songs that we sing. All of these are opportunities for us to reflect, to learn, and to grow. And those of you who already have a daily personal practice of prayer and meditation know how important it is, how vital it is, how useful it is. So that's my prayer going forward, that as all the programs will resume from this week onward, we will have the Wednesday Vivek Chudamani beginning on 7:30 in the evening. Our meditations will begin on Saturday at 6 o'clock. So try as much as you can to attend these programs. If on some days you cannot do so, except the meditation, the Sunday and Wednesday programs are also streamed live. But it's convenient, of course, to watch these programs from the comfort of one's home. But we also know the great benefit of participating together as a community, as a big spiritual family, and the learning that we get from that is much more. So try to participate as much as you can, and my prayers to Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, and Swamiji, that through their infinite grace, may our hearts be filled with light, love, so that we become a blessing to ourselves, we become a blessing to our families, to our friends, and a blessing to the people around us as well. Janani Saratam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu.
Tell